We've been talking about, what happens when the fascists turn violent and where this all started. And I'd like to step you into the Wayback Machine and go back to 2008. Mitt Romney is running against Barack Obama. And that racist strain that I mentioned in the last hour, that has been with us since the founding of this republic. I mean, our country was founded in the genocide of Native Americans and the enslavement of Africans. That racism has been only very delicately, carefully used historically by white politicians, sometimes very blatantly, obviously, cross burnings and lynchings and all that kind of stuff down in the South largely, although it had happened all over the United States. But in the last 100 years, well, the last 50 years anyway or so, it had been a little, politicians have been a little more careful about using it until the era, I think, of right-wing hate radio. And so here we are in 2008 as Obama is running against Romney, and we hear this. Excuse me, let me cue it up.
Obama's campaign wants to turn Mitt Romney into the candidate of old, straight, white men. So does that mean you should vote for Obama because he's a young, black, gay man? Well, I'm asking, what does this mean?
Right. Right. Is that even the conversation to have, Rush? I mean, really? And this is where we're, Yanis Boutaris. You don't know who Yanis Boutaris is by all, in all probability, unless you're a fan of Greek politics. He's the mayor of Thessaloniki, which is the second largest city in Greece. And he's 76 years old. He's been dry for 27 years. He's an ex-alcoholic. In his 7 years as mayor, he has championed pride parades in that northern coastal city, initiated plans for a Holocaust Memorial Museum, and expanded tourism from Turkey, Israel, and the Balkans. And there was a protest a few months ago, a number of them. This was on January 21st in Thessaloniki. And quoting this piece by Patrick Strickland in the New Republic, newrepublic.com, it's titled, "When Fascists Turn Violent." Some far-right participants distributed flyers dubbing Boutaris a slave of the Jews. And others attacked a pair of anarchist squats, anarchist encampments. The anarchists are the lefties, right? Setting one ablaze. By the time the squares and streets emptied, unknown assailants had defaced the Holocaust Museum, or the monument, in the city center. They left behind the logo of the neo-fascist Golden Dawn Party, which first entered Parliament in 2013. And then they tell this very specific story about this recent protest, shall we say, that emerged when Boutaris, the liberal mayor, showed up. And we need to take this stuff seriously. This is happening in Greece right now. It could be happening in any city in America, in my opinion, or we're on the edge of it could be happening. Boutaris wasn't fearful when the shouts first started, writes Patrick Strickland, but the hostility swelled. The moment lingered, pregnant with tension, until someone in the back of the crowd shouted, "Let's go!" Within seconds, the mayor was encircled by frantic young men who shoved him and spat at him. Bottles flew in his direction. A punch came, and then another. This 76-year-old man being beaten up by the crowd. As his small entourage gripped him by his raw-boned arms and guided him toward the car as the mob lashed out at them, several punches landing on City Council President Gula as well. The attackers followed, some sprinting from the back to catch up. A tall, limber young man dressed in black, skin-tight Everlast shirt and matching athletic shorts delivered a series of powerful kicks to the mayor's chest. Boutaris lost his balance and tumbled to the ground, the crowd kicking him. The guards got him back up. Finally, they reached the car, Gula prying open the passenger side door. Boutaris slid in, and the car sped away as a final string of strikes burst the rear window into a shatter of jagged shards. They smashed the rear window of his car as he was driving away. Gula stayed behind. The mob's anger was gone, and in its place was deafening applause. The thing that unites fascists is hatred. Hate black people, hate gay people, hate Hispanic people, hate women, hate liberals, libtards, progressives, hatred. And that's what the Koch started paying for, started funding in 2009 when Barack Obama became president and the first Tea Party emerged. And they decided, hey, let's go in on this. And now you've got, for example, Jim Jordan, Tea Party. He ran as a Tea Partier. He is in the House of Representatives as a Tea Partier. And he now wants to become the Speaker of the House of Representatives. This is how powerful, how after 40 years of trying to get control of the Republican Party in the United States, with some success for the Republican Party, but failing with regard to control of the United States. I mean, Barack Obama won in 2008 big, took the House and the Senate too. The Kochs decided, oh, let's just support this little Tea Party thing where they hate this black guy. You know, after all, he's a gay man and he's a secret Muslim and he wasn't born in the United States. You know, I'm not sure that the Kochs were funding specifically that, but that was the rhetoric that was coming out of these Tea Party meetings that we all watched on TV and laughed at and said, oh, those silly people with their tea bags hanging from their tri-cornered hats, talking about how Obama was an illegitimate president. Because after all, it's called the White House for a reason. And you know, the media and all the rest of us just, oh, it's just kind of funny. Right. Anyhow, back to your calls. It's Anything Goes Friday. Maine, hey Maine, you're on line 8. The guy who called at the end of the last hour was on line 7, and I look down from time to time to remind myself the name of my caller, and I think I called him Maine at one point. My apologies, but you're on the air with us. What's up?
Okay, how you doing, Tom?
I'm well.
Yeah, all right.
I hope you are too.
I wanted to talk about reparations. About 10 days or so ago, you talked about reparations and marginalization. And I wanted to speak about how when Clinton came into office, one of the first things he did in about the first 10 days or so that he came into office, he said that American blacks could get reparations for the days of slavery, even though the government condoned slavery during the days of colonialism into statehood.
Right, you're talking 1993. Yeah, I remember the debate.
Right. Yeah, and because it was so early in his first term, the people and forgot, I guess, by the second term, because no one brought it up that he had, restricted the government for being able to give blacks some type of reparations for slavery, even though he helped the European Jews get their money from the Swiss banks that Hitler had put in during World War II.
You're right.
And then, and then there was the American Indian. They gave them some type of reparations by allowing some of the reservations to have casinos on them, and even during World War II, after World War II, they gave some type of reparations to the American Japanese who they incarcerated during World War II.
Yeah, it took a while for that to happen, but the reason why Clinton backed away from that in '93, Maine, and I'm sure you know this, is because it would have triggered the white identity politics. It would have triggered the Limbaughs of the world, and all these people who you will see out on the streets this weekend, basically, running on white identity politics, and Clinton and the Democratic Party, sadly, were afraid of that.
Well, this is what we have to. We as Democrats or progressives, we have to democratize capitalism, because it's capitalism that's all behind this, and it's like the Koch brothers are part of this capitalism. We have to demand our democratic rights, like they demand their capitalistic rights in privatization.
I agree.
We have to, as you say, demand the commons to be democratic for all people, and not just a certain few.
Yep, very well said, Maine. And I think that we need to have a good conversation in this country about reparations. I really do. We've had that conversation on the show a number of times, but we're not finding politicians who are willing to go near it, unfortunately. We'll be back.